Yeah, hi everyone. So yeah, as I mentioned, so let's take a look at the Spring Pet Clinics. I know we are busy, so I thought of just recording this session for now. Um, I sent you the link. I sent the link in the WhatsApp group. So we will be installing this Spring Pet Clinic locally, and then we will go through the code. Okay. So you might have seen my earlier recordings, but I will try to do it one more time for the IntelliJ. Okay. So you can do go to the browser and then probably you can do two options. One is download zip or you can do the cloning. So for now, I'll just, for simplicity, I'll just download the zip and then copy this into my workspaces, into my yeah IDA projects. So this is where I have all the projects. Yeah, so I'm copying here, pasting it here, and then unzip. So once it is unzipped, so it is having in the folder. Okay. So I think we don't need this zip folder anyway. I'll just trash. Okay. So Spring Pet Clinic, we have it. We downloaded. Okay. So now let's import into this IntelliJ. So file, recent projects. We do the new. Uh, no. So we'll just click open. So open. Where is it IntelliJ? Uh, So let's go back, users, Clover Tech, IDA projects, and then select, where is that? Where is that project? Where is that? Pet Clinic, Spring Pet Clinic, right? Let me see. Yeah, let me see what is the project name. Go back, where is the command line here? So Spring Pet Clinic main, okay. That should be the one. Spring Pet Clinic main under the IDA projects. Okay, so let's see. So let's type Spring. I'm sorry. Yeah, Spring Battery Management. Okay, so I'm just selecting this one. So let's keep it open. Just choose Maven. You can choose either Maven or Gradle. So these are two options. For now, I'll choose Maven. Okay, let's click OK. So trust project. This window. I don't need to open the okay. So this project is got open. So you will see the first thing is first we'll look into the pom.xml and then we'll try to bring it up the application first without going to the code, and then we'll take a look at the code also. Okay. So so you got the project, so you can do all those things. For now, let's go open the pom.xml. Let me see if I can build it for now. Let's refresh it. So it's trying to build it. These are all my dependencies and all. So let me open the terminal. Okay, it's trying to build. Okay. Oops, it download. Why? Okay, these are all just warning. Let's see. Wait now, I guess. So still trying to download. Okay. So in the meantime, while it is building, let's take a look at the pom.xml. So what is this? So you have a Spring Boot, boot ID. So what are the main, our thing is, our project name is Pet Clinics. So they are using Java 17 for now. I think that should be okay. So main dependency is Spring Framework Boot, Spring Boot Starter. Yeah. So Spring Boot Starter we are using cache, Spring Data JPA. So it has some web. So it has some validation, some time lapse. So this is complete MVC application, not just the REST API. So for now, we'll just use this REST MVC application. We'll go through it, but in the next session, we'll take a look at just the REST API too, if you guys want it. Okay. So there are a bunch of cache related dependencies. So we don't need to be worried too much on those. Whatever it is there, some npms because it has some UI part. So all those things, yeah. So mainly this is Spring Boot application. Cool. Okay. So let's see. Still building it. Okay, so it looks like it is completed. Downloading dependencies. Sync. Let me see if I can quickly run the applications. So we'll go to the source, main, Java, so PetClinic application, yeah. So this is our Spring Boot application. So let's run it. Okay, this is coming up. Okay. So GTA platform Hibernate. So it is using some Hibernate. Tomcat shutdown port 8080. So this is fine. I think it has some H2 database as well. Things like that. Okay. Tomcat is like 8080. Okay. So let's do localhost colon 8080. Let's see what it brings up. Okay. Cool. Okay. So it has a home page. So this is a home page. Okay, cool. So it came up. So now let's look at the find owners. If I leave it blank, so it got everything. So yeah, so these are all you can edit this guy. So if I wanted to change the phone number, submit owner, so it's got changed. Okay. So find the veterinarians, it is page nation. So very simple basic application which we know already. Okay. So now we can take a look at the code. So, okay, so you don't need to be very models, bonus. Yeah, so models is, yeah, so this is what we used to have our student application. So if we look at our SMS, student management system application, these are some of the domain objects which we have, student and class, things like that, right? So these are all the models, C to C person. So this section in the base entity, these are all POJOs, basic plain old Java objects like our domain objects we call DAS. It is mapped to some columns, tables, things like that. Okay, so first name, last name. So maybe base entity, where does a base entity goes? I want trying to see which table it is finding. Okay, so that's fine. We'll take a look at those. So owners again is also it has some domain objects looks like. So table name is owners, column names and all those things. So let's see, person should also have one table. So maybe by default it's going to connect a table called person, I believe. So maybe let's see, we'll check it out. But in case of owners, so they just put as a owners, yeah. So I think just the table name is the owner. So if it is not matching, so if the name is different, so you have to mention that explicit table mapping looks like. Okay. So look at let's look at the pet. So it's called pets, things like that. Okay. So we saw those. What is that space? Yeah. So we know the controllers. We saw the controllers, controller rendition, get mappings, wet.html, all those mappings. Okay. So repository, we know we saw the repositories. So this guy, so you can see all the repository, wet repository to interact with the a wet table, yeah, veterinary tables. Okay. So you see the transactionality, we saw this read only, true, cacheable, so things like that. Okay, we will see those. So the main starting point is PetClinic, so we know that. So we just run the PetClinic application, Spring Boot application, enter with the Spring Boot application. What else? So each one has its own models and then controllers inside of it. Domain is the owners. So you have the owner controller, find owners and things like that. Okay. Owners new, and all those things. So you can go through the code. Tuck, tuck, okay, what else we need to take a look at it? Okay, so yeah, so we'll go to the code as we go. I mean, I found this PowerPoint slider, so we'll go to the PowerPoint slider. So where you can access this PowerPoint slide from here. So they have, yeah, see the presentation here basically. Okay, let me briefly explain what is that. in the presentation it is showing. So it's useful, and it's self-explanatory kind of thing. Okay. Spring PetClinic. Okay. So we know we can access Spring once you are local. So either even you can access from here, I guess. Those are the code base, yeah, GitHub and all those things. I think here, I think you can you can use the online version of it if you want to access the online version of the application. Better download it and then set it up and then run, and then we can go to, you can guys can go through the look at the code, and then yeah, well, you can debug also if you want. So, okay. So this is pretty much, this is, as I mentioned, this is an MVC application, not just the backend application. So this is MVC. So when I say MVC, model view controller architecture, so which we had discussed some time back. So in MVC, so we have the models and the views, views, and the controllers are, so way to go the services, okay? So views are basically JSPs, okay? So it could be some bootstrap CSS files, HTML files, and all those things. So it is using some timely framework, yeah, so to build those view pages, okay? But we don't need to worry about too much digging into those, building the UI. So there are so many UI frameworks, React.js, Angular, Angular frameworks. There are so many frameworks are there, but for now, so we are not learning the UI part. We'll focus on the backend part, okay? So controllers are there. So Spring MVC annotations, we use it, okay? So there are some bean definition, bean validations are there. So they're using some bean validation. We don't need to worry too much on that. And services. So we saw the services and we saw the repositories, okay? So we know that layered architecture. So first, this is by controller and then followed by service and followed by the repository. So controllers are responsible to take the request and then determine to which, based on the request received, so it will determine, you will have the logics say delegating to a service, okay? So inside the service you will have the most business logic, okay? And so with that business logic, so pretty much if you need to interact with database, you will have the in the repository, okay? So all this database logic, okay? So if you go back okay, so in the repository they have in this code base we have 3 profiles, so using 3 different technologies, one to interact with the database. So when we one is plain JDBC, JPA, and Spring Data JPA. So when we say Spring JPA, so with this is Spring JPA. I mean Spring Data JPA is like another next. This is pure Spring framework basically. Okay. So this is JDBC. I think we all 3 saw it. So you guys can take a look at it, and then you can go back and then refer our documentations. Okay, which we have. So but right for now, let's take a look at the code base. So we saw the repositories. One a repository. Uh, so whereas there are this is one repository, yeah, and wait repository. Okay, you guys can take a look at this. Okay. So you see the find all. So we saw it. So extends the same repository. So we know that this repository will have the all the where is this? Okay, index interface. Where is this class? Stereotype repository 17 implementations. Okay, these are just interfaces. Let me see. I think Spring Data JDA repository, I believe. Okay, there was that simple JPA repository. So yeah, see, one of the implementation is simple JPA repository. It will have all the find, delete by ID, delete by ID, so delete all and all those things. Yeah, find by methods implementation, find by ID and all those implementations. Okay. So that is that. It is a person.java. Okay, not person.java. So repositories. Okay. So we have repositories and the services class. So we have the repositories, we have the controllers, and we have domain objects. And let's see specialty. What is this? Where is the service classes? Okay, let's look at the controller. So from the controller, find so it is calling directly a repository basically. So sometimes we are using repository services, sometimes not services. I think it's like they're not using the services. Okay. Cache controller, not cache controllers. We don't need this one. So pet controller. Let's look at the pet controller. Does it using any services? So we don't have any services here also. Pet ID owner dot get pet IDs owner dot optional find by IDs owners. Again, so it's if you look at here, find owner by owner ID. So it is the directly calling the repository, skipping the service layer. Okay. That's what it is. I'm just wondering why do they have the services? Okay, so two. So they don't have services here. I don't know why they're mentioning the PowerPoint services anyway. Okay, but letter. So these are fine. Visit this and okay, this is fine. Okay, that's okay. So for now, let's ignore the service part, but should I have the services? Let's see, expedite transaction. Let's see if I have a real transaction different anyway. Okay, transactional repository. Okay, they mentioned the transactional read only here, I believe. Okay, good. That is also okay. That's fine. So this may be also treating it as both repository and services. Okay, usually you will have a service layer in between, and then you will make all the transactions so that you can call multiple repositories, multiple methods inside the services. Okay, but anyway, this is very simple application. Looks like they are directly declaring all this time. So they are merging the repository and service layer in one layer. Okay, that's what it is. So profiles, so Spring Data JPA, default is JPA. I think it does not have everything. So let's see. So we'll take a look at it. I think they should be mentioning in another .xml. I believe. Yeah, let's take a look at where those profiles comes into the picture. Okay. So, so we will see the core Spring. So we'll skip the web layer. We don't need to worry about too much. So visit repository. Okay. So data access. If we go to visit repository, they have the three things. Okay. JDBC visit repository. Do we have like that? Da, 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 da. What was that? Visit repository. Okay. Visit repository. They don't have the code here. Okay. They don't have visit repository. I don't know why. There is nothing visit repository. Okay. Visit repository. Visit repository. Yeah, I don't know. This code base is not matching with the presentation. Looks like. But anyway, so let me explain what they are trying to say in that slide. Okay. Let's assume you have an interface called visit repository, and you can provide three implementations. Okay, one with the JDBC visit repository, JPA repository, Spring repository. So if you look at the JDBC visit repository, I mean, we don't see, cannot see the code, but we know from our previous sessions, right? So when you write the JDBC code, you have to maintain all the connections, and you have to write the queries. You have to loop through the result set and all those things. Okay, so that makes 16 lines of code for them. It looks like. Okay. So if we go back our sections here, if you do JDBC, JDBC, right? So if we go here, if you remember, if you want a simple update or simple get all students, so you'll be writing all this code. Okay, so that's what they're trying to say here. Okay, and if it is a JPVC repository, so you'll need to just do the find by pet ID. So it will be just simple shorter version of it. If we go back to our uh, where is that? Spring framework and additional Spring. Okay, Spring hybrid Spring. So do we have here student? See save students, delete students, read only, get out students. See, if you look at here, so you just have a couple of lines. Okay, so not much. Okay, so same thing. And when we go to Spring Data JPA, you don't even need to do anything because you just need to declare the find by methods and all that. We already saw it, right? I think if we go here, setup. So with the Spring Data JPA, you will not write anything. So get all students, student service. What was that? Okay, student service, student service, get all students. You just need to do just to call the find all. You don't have any method specifically. You just call the student service, student repository. The student repository, you see, you just extend the JPA repository. you don't have any lines of code. Okay, so that's what this slide is meant technically saying. So if it is regular JPAs, you have to write some methods like find by and all those things. If it is Spring Data JPA, so you don't need to write anything. You just need to extend that Spring JPA repository. Okay, so JPA repository. Okay, so that's what it is saying. Switch implementer should be used to select. So how does it switch? You can do appropriate bean profile inside the web.xml. I think this code is this code base is not matching, but anyway, let's see if I go to web.xml, do we have that? Oops, we will not even have it because it's a Spring Boot application. Yeah, so I think these are all this code base is not matching with that anyway. So if you want to switch it, so you can browse the profiles, but for us, I think we'll be mentioning somewhere the active profiles. Remember, if you see the active profiles, uh, the default profile is default, so you can mention those profiles, whichever profile you want. If you have like a dev, local, UAT, SIT, and production, so based on the profiles, if you want to do it, I think you will do somewhere in the resources folder. What is that? Source main resources, application properties. I think somewhere here we will mention your properties with the to activate the profile. Okay, this is the database. Postgres, text, yeah, that's fine. So I think in your application properties you will mention the one of the profile, but right now it is not mentioned anything. That's why it is taking as a default profile. Okay, so I think we saw the profiles part anyway. So earlier I think somewhere in our Spring Framework XML cases work with the profiles. Where was it? Being post for profiles XML base. Yeah. So here, if you see here, you can activate the Spring configure XML. You will go and Spring profile active. Yeah. So it's something like that. Okay. So the Spring profile. This is a basic Spring profile, but Spring Boot also you see in the Spring profile start active. So if you mention the same thing in here, the profile in one of these properties, you can mention it. Okay, but usually you wanted to externalize it. Remember, we wanted to externalize those things. Okay. Yeah, so that's what they're trying. So based on the active profile, so I think you need to mention those active profiles. So in each your implementations, so if based on the value provided, so that particular class will be implementation will be injected into your runtime environment. Okay. So caching is fine, so you don't need to worry too much about the caching. Okay, so this is the hierarchy which we are talking about it. So pet controller, uh, and then clinic service and pet repository. This is the layered actor. So this is what it is trying to show how the exception is being handled, but you don't need to be worried about too much now. So this is aspect-oriented programming. That's okay. We don't need to worry. So this is like advanced topics. But if you want to log all the methods, so you will inject those kind of aspects. But anyway, you don't have it much. So that's kind of at the rate aspect, at the rate around. So you will do the annotations. So by simply annotating like this, all this monitoring, all this logging will be injected into all these repositories. Yeah, that's fine. Too much of it. Okay, so database in Spring based on project definition, first name. Okay, what is this? Well, let's see. What is user base? Database table. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. You don't need to worry about all those things. Okay, so I hope that is a little bit of useful. But try to set up and then go through the code according to our sections what we have discussed so far earlier. Try to go through each package and run the application and see if we can, let's say for example, if you want to debug something, put some debugger point here and then put some of those controllers. If you don't need to be here, you don't need to there. I mean you can put here and go to, for example, owner, right? Let's see, what is that we have. If I go here, find owners, for example. Yeah, so if you want to understand, So owner controller, where is that? Owner controller. So you know these controllers will have the owner, create new, so you can put the some debug pointers here, some debug pointers here, and then try to run in the debug mode, okay? So instead of application running in the run mode, I can just say debug mode, stop and rerun, so it will be running the debug mode. Let's see. So you have to find everything you can, okay, so it's already picking up here, looks like, okay, that's fine. So I can just resume it, yeah. You just need to resume it here if it is stopped. So go to the console. I mean, just to understand the flow, right? If you guys want to understand the flow, you can put these debug points and then look at the code. I mean, when you're writing the code on your own, so you can keep this application as a reference with your ChatGPT or Google search or whatever, or even for that matter, our own code. Try to remember those concepts what we have discussed. So you need to annotations and so using these repositories inside the controller or the service classes, yeah. So controller calls service calls the repository, okay. So because it's simple, so you can just do, we can start with this, we can always refactor the code later. Even if you start like this, you can move all this code into a service layer basically later, okay. So these are our business logic simplifications logic, okay. So now I put the owner here, so let's click on the other, we go back to the browser, click on the find owner, see, so it goes to find owner here. So now if we go here, you can always debug the things, variables is important. So owner ID is coming null for now. So it's a path variable because we didn't pass anything. So we just click on the find owner, it still comes here because we click on the owner. So owner nothing is there. If it is equal to null, then okay, let's step over. Okay. So this is going into invocation by step out. I only have to go inside there, step out, step out, step out. It's going in all the way into the string framework. We don't need to read all these things. All right, let me resume it again. Okay. So, but what happened? All these class files is open. We don't need to be worried too much. Make it simple. Nothing like that. Come on. So if it is equal to null and the new owner, so okay. What? Okay, if it is new owner, is it going here first? I don't understand. Find owner, okay. Okay, let's do one more time. Let me do here. If I do find owner, okay, find owner equal to null, yeah. These are the owners, okay. We have all the owners here. Right. And we'll go and pass it. Okay, let me click on here. What? For everything. Okay, so now it is clicking owner. So now we got the owner ID someone. So okay, it's going into the find by ID. So this is going to be our owner repository. We don't need to implement anything. This dot owners find by ID. Yeah, that's okay. Owners not found. Okay, let's go step forward. Yeah, okay, okay, okay. So now it's fine. So we'll just resume it. So now we got the owner's details. So let's edit owner. So okay, it's trying to find. It's finding the same owner here. Straight. So now let's install this. Let's do update owner. Something is wrong with my debugger. It's like today. Okay, fine. And your pet. Let me try this one. What? I don't know why it is going on. So let me go back here. Pet slash new owner slash one. Okay. Owner slash one. Technically owners post mapping, private cat mapping owners slash one slash new something. It has to go something like that. I don't know why it is going to that. I don't know why it is always going into this. Find on. Let me try. Let me try. Let's do that. Let me see. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, this is good. Owners. Okay, find owners. Okay, let me resume this one. Okay, so it comes to find owners. Okay, owner slash find owners, and it is internally owner slash find. It is internally calling find owners. Where is that? This should be somewhere here. So find owners. Now, just stepping out, stepping out. Tap, 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 tap. I'm just I don't know how to avoid going into those deeper sessions, deeper classes which we don't require. Oh my goodness, that's I never saw this. Such a weird thing. Stop that still right. I don't. Let's try that. One test. I don't know. Hmm. So, oh, good. But you know, I can do it for your perhaps. Without one error. Okay, let's see the web container, see how this one behaves. No, it does not have anything. Slash words. No, but it's not going back. Request bar, response bar, get mapping, slash words. Slash words, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's not even going there. Yeah, that's okay. So see if you guys can go through the code, try to understand the basics. And for tomorrow's session, I'll try to record the I'll try to record the only the we'll try to set up only the basics, not the basics, what I meant to say. We'll try to record the REST API specific ones. I believe here we go to there are more options of available here. Is that if I go to steps. Yeah, Spring projects. Yeah, Spring projects here. If we go here, this one, oops, this one. few folks, I believe this one. Oh yeah, so maybe I think we saw this one, right? So Spring PetClinic, Spring PetClinic, yeah. So this one Spring PetClinic question. So we'll just look at this one, the backend one, okay? So I'll try to record this one also, and then we'll go to the code. So hopefully that one will be much more simpler than this one, okay? See if you guys can put some debugger and then try to debug it, and then I'll try to go to the code, okay? So we'll talk tomorrow. Thank you. Bye-bye.